Well, my life before Christ was from elementary and up. I was raised in church, but I always ran from God because I hung out with the people that would bring me down. I was bullied. I was partying. I was always wanting to be on top. I didn't care about God because every time I would try to go to God, I'd always run away because I always felt like people were judging me. But really, it was the devil inside me saying, don't come to church because, he doesn't want me to do right. And I've had this struggle with drugs. I've done pretty much like everything that you could think of. I've been struggling with relationships and friends and drama and gossip and everything that you can imagine that people go through on a daily life. And I always was so consumed with that I didn't want to leave that life. I wanted to stay in the same sin. I wanted to stay who I was because I felt like I was above everybody. But really, inside, I was calling out for somebody to help me, but it's just nobody was there for me because, nobody really is there when you're in that kind of life. I hit rock bottom when it all started when I started smoking weed. I went to a party. I got so wasted that the next morning I woke up in a hospital because I was so worried about getting drunk that I mixed all these alcohols together and I had alcohol poisoning, and if it wasn't for that, I would have died. And then also I had a time where I smoked this stuff, it's the new thing, legal or whatever, and I felt like I was dying. And I was crying out. I was asking people, literally, am I dying? And then inside my head, I was crying to God because I didn't know what to do. Because I felt like inside, I was like, I don't know why I keep living this life. I'm just constantly on a daily basis just doing the same stuff over and over again. And I don't know what to do. And then it's just been a constant struggle. And then finally, I told my mom to take me to church one day and it all changed. And then, my best friend just died recently, and it just shows me that life's too short to be living on the struggles. You gotta reach out to people no matter what, if they just ignore you or anything, because there's people out there crying out for you. There's that moment one day when I sat back and I stayed away from people. I got out of high school. I centered myself away from everybody. And that's when I realized I needed to change my life because if I didn't, I'd probably be dead by now. Life's too short to be worrying about being popular, doing drugs, sex, alcohol, all that stuff. It's not going to get you in heaven. You never know when your last day will be.
Every night we're going to start with a student story, and then our night's going to really be an adult story. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you guys to a very special person, Mr. Jason David Frank. Let me see. Should be on.
I'm powering up right
There we
now.
go.
As we
We're on
speak.
now.
How's everybody doing today? Good? Yes. Thanks for having me. A lot of good energy here. I already feel it. Where's the Pink Ranger is what you said? Oh.
Well, he didn't know. It's underneath,
Yeah.
when he goes morphin time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we got Jason here, guys, for Storytime. Our series tonight is kind of the culmination of a lot of things I've been praying about. Is really, we go through life, living life, walking, seeing people on TV or in real life, just day to day, and we don't really see their story. And so, I was talking to Pastor Keenan. I know Pastor Keenan and Jason have a good relationship. It's like, hey, Pastor, can you talk to Jason? And Jason's like, hey, yeah, I'll do it. And so here we are. I just want to kind of start off and just kind of tell us about your childhood, man. How you were as a kid?
Well, I always tell people that I think I was an actor because I acted up as a kid, right? My mom said, you acting up all the time. I thought, well, I'll be an actor. Childhood was Rangers, behold the Vizoran on. Anyway, sorry. My childhood was a good childhood, We didn't have a lot of money growing up, and I think I appreciated the values of having houses. I lived on 5 acres for a while, and we didn't have electricity or water or anything like that. So,
oh, wow.
think about when the generator's running and the generator goes out. It's a complete 5 acres in the boonies, and 5 acres in the boonies out there. And so once the generator went out, nobody wanted to get up and put gas in it. It was dark and everything. So I grew up like that. So I think I grew up learning the value of money, I guess. And my dad was a truck driver, and as a kid, high school kid, I was in high school, so everybody of course made fun of the outhouse parked outside, and you know what I mean. I didn't have whatever all the other kids had and stuff like that. So I kind of followed my dream, and to pursue acting. And at that point, it didn't matter what it was. I was a martial artist. I was a black belt at that age already. I loved karate. I did karate my whole entire life since the age of 4. My mom dropped me off at the dojo, and it seemed like she disappeared and picked me up at 9. It was a karate / babysitting school. But I dedicated my life to training at the time, and and acting, of course. And again, I acted up as a kid, so I thought I was an actor.
So what was your inspiration to get you into karate?
Well, I was walking by a karate school about 4 years old, and I saw this old lady at the time, which she was probably younger than me now at the time. When I was like 4, I was like, look at this older lady doing karate, but she wasn't that old, but I was
probably 20s,
4.
right?
Yeah, and so I watched her do, kung fu and all this stuff, and I was just drawn in. It was one of those things where I think at the early age, I just didn't want to give up on things, I got hooked on it, and my mom and dad were, my dad's like, toughen up, and my mom's like, oh, poor baby, so I had a split lip and a black eye. I'd always covered up from my mom because I didn't want to hear it, and then my dad's like, good job, So I just loved it, and I think part of the reason too is that the karate school showed a lot of love, like you guys here, you have friends, and you guys probably love coming, and you meet good people, so that's not just the karate or not just your worship, but I think just being around those people make you feel good. And sometimes we get a little silly, right? But it just makes you feel good, to have those friends and have that connection, at that time. And wish it was a church at the time, but I didn't find.
So it was a foundation for you then.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
See, for me, karate was like wax on, wax off, and I got inspired by Mr. Miyagi as my inspiration.
Yeah. But it was learning dedication at a very, very early age. And dedication, I think, is in everyone's life. You have to be dedicated to Jesus. You have to be dedicated to your church. You have to be dedicated doing homeschooling. Dedication is what I learned at an early age that I think helped me reach my goals. I'm sure you guys have a lot of things that, you dream of, but you can do it. You just got to reach for it and keep thinking you can and do it. I'm a doer. I don't like to, think about it. You know what I mean? So I like to follow my dreams.
So how did you get into acting then?
Well, my first job that I had, watching these guys up here is kind of what I did at home, making little movies and doing shots and just, always want to be on the microphone at a wedding or, anywhere else. Hey, it's Jason David Frank, and, I'm hosting this wedding, and I would interview people. And, of course, when the cameras get on, if you guys ever notice filming, it's all of a sudden you're normal, and then it's like, and rolling. Yes? Uh-huh. I do that all the time with people. They give a great story. I'm like, let me do this for my Facebook. And then I put the camera on them, and they're like, I'm so excited to see you. And they're like, I'm so excited to see you. And I'm like, no, that's not what you just said earlier. So I had my first job when I was 12. I was doing a modeling shoot. And at that time, the modeling was paying like $1,200 a day. So I thought I was banking, I was 12. I'm like, oh yeah, baby, And did a photo shoot, me on skateboards and karate, and my stage name was Jason Barnes. And it was a company called Olive Pit Productions. And I worked 2 days. And they sold all these things in Teen Beat magazines. And of course, your whole family, aunt and uncle, everyone orders. So everybody ordered everything. And then, boom, they disappeared and never gave anybody nothing.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
It was gone. That's Hollywood, It's like, they're like, where's my poster? Guy shut the company down and just bailed.
Oh, wow.
So that was my first job. And, and then, of course, acting and getting little jobs here and there. But Power Rangers was really my first. I was 18 going into it. And I didn't know any clue about what Power Rangers, the word Power Rangers just did not exist. They said I was reading for the Green Ranger, so I figured, well, it's a Forest Ranger. What Green Ranger can it be except a Forest Ranger? So I was thinking like Smokey the Bear or something. I don't know. I'll do whatever. Then we start mentioning all this Zordon and this and that, and I'm like, what is this? And then, I did the pilot. I saw the pilot and showed my brother. And he was sitting there, and he was so speechless. He watched it. It was about a half hour, and then it ended, and then the credits rolled, and then the camera turned, the screen turned black, and he was like, I was like, what do you think, dude? I mean, and he's just like, dude, that's just dumb. And he was still staring at the TV. He's like, that's just so cheesy. That's just so cheesy. But then I started thinking, kids like grilled cheese, cheese sticks, cheese puffs, Cheetos. Hey, cheesy sells. Kids like the cheesy stuff. So, of course, the show took off, and next year is the 20th year anniversary. They're playing it on Netflix, and this year, a lot of kids that were 4 are growing up now. They're 20, 30. Man, I used to watch you as a kid. You're like, hey, don't say that too loud. Yeah, 14. So it's got this. It revived everything again. So it's given me a good chance, I think, to go back in time a little bit and do the things the right way, which I'm here talking about Christ.
Hey, there we
See
go.
what I'm saying?
Awesome.
So
now being in Hollywood, I'm guessing there's a lot of temptation, and you get pulled in all these different directions. And did you get caught into that whole lifestyle there?
Well, I had kids at a very early age. I was like 19 when I had my first child, and I was like, it was very shocking. Now, all of a sudden you're a dad and stuff like that, So, yeah. And,
Wrong team, sorry.
But, the good thing that I learned from that is to tell you, just wait before you have kids, okay? And, the Hollywood scene is much like high school, I think. You have your your popular people that do popular things that they think it is. So you got the drugs, the alcohol, like I saw that testimony. And then you have the people that you might not be so popular. Well, that's how Hollywood is. Hollywood is driven, rub your elbows, let's hang out with some big shots. Everybody in Hollywood is fake. I mean, it really is. It's, you go to Hollywood parties and it's who you are, what you have, what money you have. There's nothing else in Hollywood as far as that goes. So yes, there was temptations. There was drugs. I was never into drugs. There was drinking. There was a lot of stuff going on at that time. But, I think I stayed pretty solid. I stayed away from all those Hollywood parties. And, I always trained and, don't want to train with a hangover. You don't want to get in the cage and fight and all that stuff. So I really just stayed away from that temptation. But, yeah, there's a lot of things. Look, money, greed is a temptation, right? I mean, you all of a sudden start thinking you have a lot, well, maybe I can do this and maybe I can do that. So, money was thrown at you. You're in the spotlight. You have thousands of fans, millions of fans around the world. And now whoever makes you think you're the guy. That's not. It's you got to be humble. You got to walk the walk and just think, man, you're not higher than anyone else. I've never carried myself like that. Even before, Christ came in my life. Christ's always been in my life, but I'll explain that later. But, I just felt like I never wanted to be up on the mountaintop looking down at everybody in the valley. You might have friends that, kind of step on you on the way to the top, and you're like, hey, remember me? And they're like, no. Well, those people will soon enough be in the valley as your way up to the mountaintop. So on your way up there, you can't step on people because everyone falls eventually. So my philosophy was, let's stay in the valley, mingle with the valley people. My dad's a trucker. I came from no money anyway, so who cares about going to big mansions and eating with the proper forks? I was the type of guy where I was like eating like this, and they're like, oh, don't use that fork. That's for the salad. It's like, who cares? It looks like a fork. You got 3 forks, knives, spoons. It's just very, very complicated to even enjoy your meal, right? Yeah. So, geez. So entering that world, of course, there was a lot of temptations and stuff. And I would lie if I say there wasn't on bad roads that I took, sure. But I think the roads, it's like a detour. It's like a GPS. You know what I mean? Your life is a GPS. When you go off track, what does that GPS tell you? Turn around. Sounds like it says make the first illegal U-turn, but that's not what it says. It says make the first legal U-turn. At first, when I first heard it, I was like, I'm just going to make an illegal U-turn because that's what GPS said. But it puts you back on detour. So we all get off those tracks, but we got to remember that, God and Jesus is like the GPS. It's got to guide us down that right road. Once you turn, it's too far. It's far to find your way back, but it's possible no matter where you go. And so I think that's You know, the temptations were there, but I just, you know, was, I guess, smart enough and been blessed not to take those temptations.
Something like you were more focused, and you were focused on the martial arts and the acting, so it was kind of hard to really get into that stuff.
Right. And business, too. I have businesses. You know, when I was 18, I had my first martial arts karate school. You know, I owned my first school. In fact, the school that I trained at 4, I bought that school when I was 18.
Oh, wow.
I sold all my comic book collections. I sold everything I have to buy this franchise fee. And when I was 18, being on that side of the desk thinking, oh, I'm the big boss, it was a small school. But being on this side of business wasn't what I saw karate to be. I'd rather be on the other side. Because being in the business side is a lot. If you have moms, you know, your parents own businesses, it's always, you know, there's a lot of stress to that. So I owned 2 karate schools before I even started Power Rangers.
Oh,
so
wow.
I had a couple businesses, so I always try to keep my mind on business and things like that, you know. So just trying, I guess, maybe living on the property and not having electricity and money, maybe that was the drive for me to get something better for my life, you know.
So you could say you had like, some good grounding in your family then.
Yeah.
All right. Now you mentioned like you had Christ in your life, but you kind of didn't have Christ in your life. So can you explain that a little bit?
Well, as a child, you know, my mom taught me to pray, you know, pray and stuff. And now I wasn't guided the way that you guys are guided here today. You guys are very young. You're in church. I see you guys, you know, and praising God and jumping around. That's awesome. I just didn't have that. But I knew inside I had this dream, and I can't explain the dream now, and it will come later into what I tell you. But it was a dream, almost like you know the dead finger you do? You put the 2 fingers on top and you feel it, and it's like, whoa, that feels weird. It was this connection dream that I kept having as a child that I just didn't understand. I can't still explain it today. But I always prayed, and I had a standard prayer, you know. Sometimes our prayers change because, you know, we ask God for certain things, but I had a standard prayer. I always do it before bed. Dear Lord, you know, and protect my family and this and that. And so I didn't have what everyone has, but I knew there was something to this dream, or there was something more to life than money and Hollywood and business and success and all that stuff. Because success to me is not measured on money. It's not how much money you have in the bank. Success is what you do. Do you love your job no matter what you do or how you make money? That's how I rate success. You know, so I always knew there was something more, but I just couldn't grasp it. I didn't have any guidance. So I guess being out in Hollywood on my own, being so young, hitting such a big show all over the world. I toured around the world, and people speak different Spanish. Tommy. Yeah! You know, go somewhere else, you know, in Italy and all these different languages, and, you know, it was everywhere. So I guess to stay grounded, I think God was there just waiting for my time, you know, to say, okay, you'll understand soon, you know, and so, you know, that's what I mean by having Christ in my life. And then, you know, of course, I'll tell you, you know, how I experienced it and stuff.
Well, then, what's that moment where you kind of like, aha, I need something here. I mean, there's something missing. What was that moment like? And what was that moment?
The aha moment, I think, you know, was, I met my wife here. She's from Houston, and you have to understand I'm from Los Angeles. There's no churches anywhere. Everywhere here, there's a church every corner. You can find churches. In Los Angeles, there's not a lot of churches. So, you know, my wife was part of, you know, Joel Osteen's original dad's church, and, you know, she came to Crosby, and she knew, you know, and all this stuff. And so she'd tell me, you know, we got to, you know, get in a church. And so it was like Google a few churches, and like 3 pulled up, like half hour away. And so I went to church, and, you know, it's just different. When you don't go to church, you don't understand it until you really understand it. So, you know, people were praising. I'm like, man, I don't know. I want to put my hands up, but I don't know what to do. And it's, you know, it's kind of like going into Starbucks. You don't understand the Starbucks language. You know, you just want a coffee. Just give me a coffee. So I had to understand all this stuff and what was going on. But I didn't understand there's not motions to church. There's a feeling to church. It's not the motions you do that's going to drive your passion for Christ. It's the feeling you have. So my thing was, oh, God, just, you know, I know you shouldn't say it, but just prove to me. Just give me something. I just, you know, and so I saw this pastor, Pastor Jackson. He's from Uganda, and he was motivated. He was loud. He was energy. And he's like, you know, it's like walking from A, B, C, D, but you could walk, but you're walking from A and B and A and B and A, and you're walking, but you're not getting nowhere. And he says, you know, how many of you guys come to church one day and that's it? He's like, you got to be strong. You got to punch the devil in the face. And now when he said punch the devil in the face, I asked him, I get it. I'm a fighter. I punch people in the face anyway, right? So he says, well, what kind of guy are you to come to church once a week? That's like punching the devil in the nose once a week. So, then I was like, man, of course, the Jesus and Tap company I started and stuff. Then I started thinking, ground and pound the devil 7 days a week. So I went up, beat him up 7 days a week, ground and pound, MMA thing, right? So I go up and I was just praying and getting saved. And, we've said these motions before. Maybe we haven't felt anything, It was like, whoa, look around, So that moment was just, I was driven. It felt like the lights were on me. It felt like God was talking to me. It was like, this is for you. It was powerful. I couldn't put my hands down. You know what I'm saying? And I left church and I was like shooken up, like all in tears. Tammy's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know what happened in there. She's like, well, you asked God to show you something, Don't be scared now. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of scared, And but I experienced that. And, I realized that there was just more to life, which was eternal life, that we should all be fighting for, not, materialistic things or anything like that, I mean, it's all good to have new stuff and things like that, but I realized that was my aha moment.
Yeah. Now, what's a good life lesson you've learned so far? Just being, honestly, I don't think we get to meet a lot of people that go to Hollywood and get to experience that kind of lifestyle. So what would one story you can kind of tell the students here that life story, life lesson you've learned so far that from being in Hollywood and whatever?
Well, that I realized when I hit rock bottom, I lost my brother and my best friend almost in the same week, took their lives, and I was devastated. And that's before I went to church. I heard everybody say, man, you need God. You need God. People were coming to my office and just strangely say, God has a message for you. And I'm like, okay, well, who are you? And, I was like, man, I can't hear. I was devastated. I just wanted to be with my brother. I just was, the sleeping pill. I just didn't want to. It just was terrible. And I kept hearing everybody, need God, need God, need God. And I said, man, if I hear that one more time, I don't know. And that's when I had that awe moment, is when I said, you know what, that's what I do, is I do need God. And because ultimately, I don't want to be side by side with someone that took my brother's life, the devil. I'm a fighter. I'm a winner. I'm not on that side of being depressed and being under the chains of the devil, of the enemy. So I realized, you know what? I want to fight him. I'm not going to be on his side and be under depressed and be sad I'm going to fight him. And the only way to fight him is to get on this side and be a warrior of God, because I am a fighter and I'm not going to let the devil win me, And so that's when I decided, boom, there was more to life than this, A lot of songs have that. And I think there's more to life than this, is having Jesus. He's the guy where you can, no matter what, your friends, everybody, you can go and talk to him anywhere. And he's not going to, deny you. He's always there. He's a forgiving. He's a mercy God. And so great to have. So my life lesson for everyone is what you guys are doing now. Speaking to kids, saying stay with it, because every day we all go like this. I do. I speak for that. I'm not perfect. We all go through this, but I have to cast the devils, and then I cast the demons out, and I got to fight them every single day. And I've learned by Pastor Keenan that you have to be all in. I've been on tour and I've been traveling every single week. If you look at my Facebook page, I have it as Jason David Frank official fan page. I'm gone every single week, and for the last 8 months, that took me away from church. And I text Mike, and it took me away. And my wife said, well, what is this? I'm not going to let the devil win and take me away from church. So I pray every day. And when I told Pastor Keenan I'm in, and even though the flames, when someone says, man, you're burning with Jesus. You're burning. Your flames are burning. Even when they don't see your flames are still burning. They're just coals. Coals are the hottest thing, so I got to constantly fan these fires and burn. But my life lesson for me is that there's more to life than anything. Jesus is the way. And you guys are so great, so young. And I wish I had someone that I could maybe listen to at the time, because the people I listened to at that time are kind of, boring. And you know what I mean? I do a lot of drug abuse resistance education thing, like Red Ribbon Week. And if I just talk, the kids will fall asleep. I got to keep them excited, keep them pumped up. Let's go, So like you guys do here, that you get the message. So I think a life lesson is just is keeping with Jesus and continue fighting the demons and the devils that are coming upon you, because those are all your depression and all your sadness and all that stuff is the chains bound by the devil. And we have to cut those chains, and we have to cast them out and cast them out and cast them out. And what we say in our mouth is the rudder of our boat. So what we speak is our thoughts, and our thoughts control our body, and our body controls our actions. So if the words that we speak, even loudly, doesn't sound, if the words I speak, I could do it, oh God, help me here. Oh, Jesus, just cast all demons out. It'll get into my thoughts will go to my body, and my body controls my action. Versus, I'm so depressed today, so depressed, and it gets into your thought, then your thoughts can come into your body, and then like that girl says, she reads out, smokes weed, drinks, get depressed, you'll wake up more depressed than you are now. So the words we speak or the words we think control our thoughts. And that was important for me to understand, because when a boat goes down the river, what controls the boat is the rudder. And what we say is what we speak. Like they say the secret and this and that, and put things out in the universe. They're just saying put it out to Jesus. Everything we get is from Jesus. Everything. The lines of people I have, I'm blessed. People say how I say I'm blessed with all these fans. I'm blessed to have it because everything we get is from Jesus and is from God. And that's why I think the life lesson, I wish I sat at that age and listened to someone and really felt it, not just assumed, there's got to be a God. I wonder if there is. It's not a religion, it's a relationship, and I wish I would have felt it. So the early lesson, feel Jesus and continue feel him, and don't let those depression things and all those thoughts and all the things kids are going through. You guys go through a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? You do. I don't care what people say. We don't have a job. You go through a lot of problems and a lot of things. But this is the best place to be. And even when you're not here, right? We speak, speak what we get or get what we speak. My little girl says, speak what you get, and I know you get what you speak, right? And so that would be a lesson I think that I would have liked to learn, at an early age.
What's interesting, you don't hear a lot of people in Hollywood or people that are a celebrity, so to speak, that speak about Jesus like that. It's kind of sad. You see that very rarely. And just out of curiosity, do you feel any opposition because of that?
Well, on my Facebook and everywhere, I started a company called Jesus Didn't Tap, right? And one of my fans said, "Hey, man, I'm really proud that you say whatever you think you say." Like I will tell fans, "Oh, don't talk about it." Oh well, that's just what it is. You can't get a JDF shirt without a Jesus Didn't Tap on my shirt. That's the way it is. The fan page don't. So constantly, I say what I want to say because I think it's so important. But you're right, a lot of Hollywood people, and I don't mean to say that or judge or anything like that. I just think that when you say, how can you compare? What was your life like without Jesus? If you don't experience Jesus, how can you know what your life is without Jesus? That's like saying, I don't like steak. Well, how come? Well, have you ever tried it? No. Well, how come you don't like it? I just don't. I think I won't. So until you have something to compare with and look and say, oh, I found Jesus and he's in my life now. And, until you have that, then you can compare and say, you know what my life used to be? So let's, for me, let's just get into what we need to compare with the best right now is feel Jesus, so you don't have to compare what your life will be like or what it would have been like. You know what I mean? So I think it's, I don't know, I just think it's a great thing to actually start the celebrity thing all over again and get my message out to the kids that are now growing up that can understand that. You know what I mean?
So the connection with you and stuff.
Yes, the connection, yeah. My little girl, she's 8, she's in the back somewhere. She goes with me everywhere. I was telling them we did an appearance, and she wore my Dino Thunder costume and took pictures and told everybody, I'm selling pictures for $1, raising money for Crosby Church. She raised like $100 in an hour. And she's, where are you, Jenna? Probably hiding back there. So she is my little rock. Before I came up here, she's praying for me. This is my first testimony. First thing I've ever talked about
that's cool,
Jesus or anything like that. So, of course, this was probably more nerve-wracking than any of my interviews that I've ever done in my entire life. Wow. Because up here, you're in the hot spot. I can't lie to everybody, you know what I mean? And that's not what I am. I've never been that way. And I think, being a good businessman, you don't need to cut throats. You have to be an honest businessman to be successful, And so I'm kind of excited to share the story. And I know I talk a lot, but that's just too bad.
No, man, that's great. It's great. It's great. Well, just in kind of closing, what would something you would like to tell these students so that they can grasp from your story? What's that one last thing you can say, hey, you know what? Here's what you need to get. we talk about feeling Jesus and experiencing Jesus. We talk about that a lot, and it's always nice when I have another person that says that, because they're like, whoa, AJ, guess what we heard? Yeah, I say it all the time. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
AJ, Jason said experience Jesus. Yeah, we tell you that every day. Really?
I never heard that, AJ. No, I know how it is. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. TNT today, not tomorrow. I would definitely tell, I was thinking about this. What can I say that you haven't heard already? And I think I said it before, is that discipline, our flesh discipline, and then we have the Holy Spirit, which, obviously we can do a lot more having Jesus in our life, but does take the discipline to come to church, go to school. It takes the discipline to say, I ain't hanging out with those people. I'm not doing what you do, because it gets you nowhere in life. I promise you, when you go in your 20th year reunion for your high school, all those cool people aren't going to be cool no more. They won't. You'll be cool. And you'll be looking younger because you're staying away from alcohol and you're staying away from drugs. You'll be successful. So my message here for everyone is dedication, dedication, dedication. And don't say I can't do it. Never say I can't. You know what I mean? Always say I can. I can, I can, I can. Remember the words that you speak, Jesus will hear, even your thoughts. So that will, go to your brain, go to your body, and your actions. And that's what I teach my kids when they say, well, I didn't know what I was doing. Yes, you knew what you were doing, because you thought, I'm going to hit my brother, I'm going to hit my brother. Then it went into your brain, and you're like, oh my gosh. Then it went into your body, your brother's really getting up. Boom! What did you do? I didn't do nothing. He was bugging me, right? So I would just say dedication, and staying dedicated to the Lord, and staying dedicated to your dreams. And listen, you guys are all unique human beings. You all have a special gift. God has given us a special gift for every areas in our life. My wife told the janitor the other day that she is cleaning and doing a great job at the gym. And I said, well, why did she said, God told me to tell her that, because that's her position in life, and she takes pride in cleaning that gym. So each and every one of us have a special gift that we need to do, and we're all equal. There is no one above us except Jesus and God, so he's the one. I have a Jesus Didn't Tap company, and people call and they say, well, I'm going to speak to the owner. Well, I'm the owner. I'm going to speak to someone higher than you. All right, well, you might need to put your hands together and pray, because that's Jesus. Maybe he can answer your prayers for you, But yeah, Jesus Didn't Tap means that he didn't quit. You saw a lot of tap out clothes. I saw the Elite MMA, a couple guys that were going up here. Yeah. And Jesus didn't tap. He never gave up. He didn't give up verbally, and didn't give up being nailed on the cross. I hear that he couldn't tap, yes, verbally, and he could have sent thousands and thousands and thousands of angels to help him, but he chose to be crucified on the cross for our sins. And he didn't quit. So Jesus didn't tap, and neither are you in all that you do in life. That's just it. I mean, this is a lesson that you can learn and take it away from that. Jesus didn't tap, and neither am I. And you just never give up, and always go after your dreams. And don't let those people tell you, oh man, that's never going to work out. Those are the negative people. Stay away from the negative people. You know those people, right? They come up and drop all the problems on you, and then you feel so horrible and so bad, and then they leave, and then they feel better, and you feel all the problems, right? And they leave. Thank you. I felt so much better telling you all those things. And gossip is known in high school. You know what I mean? It talks about gossip in the Bible and stuff like that. It's best to be neutral, so we don't get caught up in gossip and losing our friends over something that was misunderstood, and that happens in life. I hear it all the time. So I try to just be cool and neutral. On my Facebook, I believe that the voting should just read the book. That's what you should vote on. Read the book and vote on biblical principles. I don't really try to get into a lot of politics and everything. Read the book. That book won't lie to you. And that's what we need to vote on our country and everything else. I know it's over, but that's what we need to vote on. So just stay true to the best book in the world that can make you feel better. It's the best motivational book in the world, right? You can almost flip through it and read it and go, he's talking to me, right? Exactly. So that's pretty much, and I will say, Pastor Keenan, I love him, because we got a chance to spar, and he fights and he spars and we wrestle, and what other pastor can you do? My wife's like, how do you fight your pastor? I'm like, it's all for sport, babe. It's all for fun. But he's such a great guy, and he's so motivated. He's a motivational speaker, and he's a fighter, and you know what I mean? And breaks all that stuff. When I was loading stuff up, I was back there, and I was like, yeah, cool, load this up in the car. And then, the water bottle, yeah, load them. Trying to blow it up and pop it myself. Here you go. Here's your bottle. Just trying to see if this stuff's, the phone book. Is this a fake phone book? I guess not. Here you go. Here's your phone book. Bars. Oh, you got to put these bars in your car. Oh, here's your bar back. So, anyway, I just, want to thank you guys, but most importantly, thank Jesus for getting me through this talk with everybody. And, thank you.
Hey, man, thank you. Thank you. Give Jason a round, guys. Well, I just want to thank you for coming, man. I know it was kind of one of those last-minute things in a way, but we are really blessed that you came and showed your story, because it's a rare treat when we get to have, hear a story like yours, and I don't know if he'll be sticking around afterwards or anything like that, maybe talk to some kids, but maybe Jason will. Also, check out his Facebook, guys. He has a Facebook fan page. He's always posting really cool videos, and I'm a fan of yours on Facebook, and I saw all the cool videos, and you're always professing your faith, and that's what that's what attracted me to asking you to speak. So, man, that's so cool. That's really rare and unique, and we just want to thank you. So, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I just started Twitter, so I got that too.
Well, get up for Mr. Jason there, Frank, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Listen, I'll be around here if y'all.
You're my favorites.
Thank you.
Well, with that being said, guys, so tonight, here's what's going to happen. As the band gets on stage here, we want to end the night with this, and y'all can talk to Jason afterwards and everything. But we do want to end our night with a time of response, a time of focus, a time of again experiencing God. Jason was talking about you got to experience God, got to feel God. And God isn't just a feeling, but He's the person you experience feelings with. We connect with God in our head and our heart. And so tonight, we're going to end the night with some worship and response time. And so, if Jason's story struck a chord with you and hit your heart, this is that time to come to the altar and just pray. And if not, fine, just come and pray anyway. Just kneel down and grab a partner or grab an adult and say, I need some prayer. And so I'm going to just pray real quick, and then we're just open up the altar here, and y'all can just join us for worship, right?
You have just watched a podcast from Activate Student Ministries at Crosby Church. We hope you've been blessed and encouraged from the message, and that you will continue to support Activate Ministries. For more information about us, visit our website at www.activatestudents.com.